and welcome to the Rise and Rediscover podcast. This is a platform where you'll hear real conversations and real stories of women, moms who have struggled through some difficult times and come out stronger on the other side. The stories are real, they're raw, they need to be heard. And, the point of this whole podcast is for people who are struggling in the same situation, know that they're not alone. And there are people and resources and different things out there to help you get through times that are not so easy in your journey of motherhood. So today, I've decided to focus on a topic that has really hit home to me recently. And it's about not waiting to chase your dreams, not waiting to find your purpose and find what fulfills you, because we're not promised tomorrow. We only have this moment, and we're only given one life that we know of, and we need to make the best of it, and we need to do what makes us happy. And I can say that now because, my children are grown, and I'm not in the day-to-day crazy scheduled sports, school, homework, and so it's easy now for me to focus on me and what fulfills me and what gives me purpose. But I feel like if I did it sooner and I did it when my kids were younger, maybe I would have been a little bit less stressed or a little bit more patient, because I was doing things that fulfilled me other than being a mom, which was my favorite and still is my favorite job. So the reason I decided to focus on this topic is at the beginning of this year, I lost an aunt who was only 56 years old and had so much life to live, and was given a diagnosis in the middle of last year of cancer, fought as hard as she could for her husband and her boys and her grandsons, and didn't want to give up until she knew her fight was over. And it was very sad. It hit me in a different way, because we grew up as cousins. She was only 56 years old, and I'm almost 51. She wasn't so much an aunt. And as we got older and had our own families, we didn't see each other as often, but she always had a place in my heart. And I know that she had so much more to give this world. And it really breaks my heart that she's not here for everybody that needed her. So it made me realize that we have one life, and we don't know how long it is, and we don't know when our time is up. So to wait for whenever to start our dreams, or to set new goals, or to begin a career or a path that you've always wanted to, but you were afraid to, you got to start today. And, I'm going to start with a quote that says, "You're never too old to set a new goal and dream a new dream." I started my new dream at 47 years old. I worked and raised my kids, and I finally said, I think it's time for something more. And I listened to my heart, and I became a life coach. I ended up going out on my own and starting my own business as a hairstylist. Things that I never thought I would do, because I was happy where I was. I worked in the same salon for 27 years. I was very happy there. I had a lot of roles there that were other than doing hair, and I loved those roles. I loved being a mentor and a coach and all that stuff that I was able to do other than, work on my clients, which I also loved. I love the human connection. I love making people feel good and making people happy. But I knew I was hitting the ceiling where I was. I was kind of as high as I could go. I was working as many hours as I could. My schedule was as full as it could be. So I started to question, is there more for me? Is there more for me? And I know a lot of you out there are probably asking yourselves the same question. Our generation was raised on you get a 9 to 5 job or a full-time job with benefits, and you got to work 40 hours a week or more. And that's how we were raised, and that's what we have always thought is what life is supposed to be like. But there are so many other options out there that can give you a successful life without having to grind every day all day until you're 65, 70 years old, and now you're tired and you don't have the time or the resources to maybe start something new or the energy. So I think if you're listening to this, you've already taken the first step to finding purpose. You want to know what it is. Do I feel ready? I think if we wait for the perfect time, that's an illusion, and there never is a perfect time. So we need to start taking the steps and start living with intention right now. The hard truth is we often say, I'll start next week, next year, when I have more time. But the truth is none of us are promised tomorrow. The only certainty we have is in this moment. I remember a time where I kept putting off this podcast, and I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to speak about things that, fulfill me and give me purpose and help other people. Because again, if you listened to my second episode, when I told my story about my daughter and how lost and alone I felt, once I got through that, I said, I need to do something that will help people like me, that will help them understand and know that they're not alone, that there are other people dealing with the same thing and have outlets or have ways to get through it without getting so deep in the darkness that it's too hard to get out. So, I started a coaching business, and I coach women and a couple of men. I've started just to switch their mindset and to decide, what do you want for your life? We are capable of whatever it is we put our mind to. It's not easy. It takes hard work, but we can do whatever we put our minds to. Whatever we wake up in the morning and say, this is what I want to do today. We all have the power to do that. It's scary, and I still have my full-time job that pays my bills, and, but I'm able also to do this, which brings me so much fulfillment. I love it. I love speaking to these women who have such amazing stories and that have come from such dark places and become such strong, resilient women. So, I'm here to tell you that you can be that. You can be that. You can start at whatever age you are. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can start at 30, you can start at 25, you can start at 50, you can start at 70. It doesn't matter. There's no perfect moment. If we wait for all the stars to align, it's just procrastination in disguise as preparation. So start messy. If you want to write a book, write a page a day. If you want to, run a marathon, walk a mile a day, run a block a day. It's the little small steps that will get us out of our comfort zone that are going to move us into the next phase of our lives that we really want to live in. And it's not easy. It wasn't easy for me to put myself out there. It wasn't easy for me to tell my story. But with the permission of my daughter, I knew it was a story that needed to be told. I knew it was a story that would maybe one mom listened to who was going through it and listened to where my daughter is today and said, all right, maybe this is going to be okay. Maybe we're going to get through this. Maybe, it's not as bad as I think it is. Or maybe it is, and I need to really find more help. I really need to get some outlets that are going to help me and my child. So I think just taking one small step every day to get yourself out of that comfort zone is what you need to do. I asked myself, what lights me up? When I decided that I felt like I needed to change, I said, what is it that I've always wanted to do but been afraid to start? And when it comes to my career, as a hairstylist, I never, for all the years I worked in a commissioned salon, and I never felt that I needed to go and rent my own space. I just didn't. I loved the women I worked with. I loved everything about it. There was nothing I didn't love until I got to a point where I said, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. And it was scary and it was hard. And I was confident that my clients would follow me because I have created relationships over, it was 27 years at that point with some of them. And you can't, that connection is something you can't describe with some people, not all, but the connection that I made with my clients as a hairstylist, I knew was going to go far beyond that building. And so when I decided to take that jump, I reached out, and 99% of the people I reached out to came with me to the new space that I'm working at now. So that wasn't scary to me. What was scary to me was leaving the people I loved at my old job. What was scary to me was being in charge of myself, not having the foundation and the support of that you get at a commission-based salon, doing it all myself. But the feeling that I knew there was more out there, and not so much in the hair industry as what else I wanted to do, and the coaching and the inspiring people. And I knew I couldn't do this while working there. It wouldn't have been feasible for me. So stepping out of my comfort zone and starting doing something on my own gave me the courage to be able to start my coaching business, which then gave me the courage to start this podcast, which I've gotten so much feedback from women who really love it. They just love to hear the stories. They love to hear the women speaking of their, the things. Vanessa was such an inspiration with her sobriety and where she's going, and the people that she's inspiring now is mind-blowing. And, speaking to Kelly, who is the most amazing therapist that I've ever worked with, and her empathy and her love for the people she works with, and her family and her community is something that you don't see all the time. And of course, my mom, who is the most amazing mom ever. And I'm so fortunate that I was raised by her, because she made me the woman I am today. She made me the loving, empathetic, hardworking woman that I am today because of how she loved me. So far, those 3 episodes with those women have been unbelievable. And it just makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's new, and I'm learning, and there are hiccups, and maybe this one is going to be kind of long-winded, and maybe people listen to half of it and say, all right, she's not really going anywhere with it. And that's okay, because I'm just getting out what I feel is so important for people to know. And it's, if you feel stuck, ask, what can I do in this moment to move closer to my dream? What is it? What can you do? What is your dream? Sit down, close your eyes, and say to yourself, if money was no object and I could do whatever I wanted for the rest of my life, what would it be? What do I think about that gives me goosebumps? And that'll be your answer. And, I'm not telling you quit your job and do that. I'm telling you, start little steps working towards whatever it is that is. And even doing an hour a day, 20 minutes a day of working towards whatever it is that gives you that fulfillment is going to get you there closer and closer. Now, I started this almost 3 years ago, my new path, and I'm still making baby steps. I'm not anywhere near where I know I'm going to be. And I know in my heart, I'm going to reach so many people, and this is going to open up opportunities for me to help so many people, that these little steps and hiccups and episodes that maybe are going to be successful or not are getting me to where I know I'm headed. There's no question in my mind. I am headed for some big things. And I believe that every day, deep down. I truly believe that The world is my oyster, and I can do whatever it is I put my mind to. Now, are there times where I'm tired and I don't feel like putting the effort in? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's what, February 2nd today? I haven't done an episode since December. So now, for those of you who are hairstylists or in the beauty industry, you know what December looks like for us. And it was crazy. It's a crazy month. It's very busy. And then January rolls around and you're exhausted. So I was exhausted. So, you know, but I'm not beating myself up that it's taken me this long to make this next episode. I'm giving myself grace that I needed that time. I needed that time to reset, refocus. You know, like I said in the beginning, I'm struggling a little bit with the death of my aunt just because it was so fast, and she was just such a light and had so much to offer this world that it just hurts my heart that we don't have her in it anymore. And it made me say, there's no more waiting. We have to do what we want today because we don't know what's coming tomorrow. Um, you know, if you think about people like Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, right? Wasn't good enough. Walt Disney was told he didn't have enough of an imagination at the newspaper he wrote for. So he lost his job. So we're going to get no's. We're going to get roadblocks. We're going to get people who don't believe in what path we're taking. And that's okay. That's okay. You know, J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter after a series of rejections, but she kept going. You know, I think we need to realize that some people are going to be on our team. Some people are going to be supporting us, cheering for us, asking us, what can I do to help you get to where you want to be? And some people are going to be not so supportive. And, you know, just like every chapter of our life, you know, if you think about from when you were a child to now, how many friends do you still have from elementary school? Maybe some of us have a couple, but, you know, you go from elementary school with those friends to middle school. Maybe some of the same, then they change up a little bit to high school. Now you probably don't have many of your middle school friends. You have new friends in high school, and then college, or you go into work. And for me, my friend groups changed with my kids. You know, when my son was going through all of his baseball and hockey, my friends were the parents of the kids on his teams. When my daughter was going to dance competitions and, you know, dancing, my friends were the mothers of the girls on her team. So do I still keep in touch with some of them? Sure. Are they part of my everyday life now like they were then? No, because everything changes. Now I have surrounded myself with the most amazing, strong women that are on the same path as me. Women that I didn't know 2 years ago. Women that, you know, we lift each other up and we cheer each other on. And I'm I'm learning to put myself in rooms with people who are like-minded to me. And that comes with experience and that comes with life lessons. But it has been absolutely amazing. The minute you change your thought process or your mindset to, I can find my people, I can find my passion, I can chase it, I can have whatever I have, you need to make that decision. And once you do, you're going to be mind blown. You're going to be mind blown, like I have been. I have made some amazing friendships in these last 2 years since I've started this new life, basically. And do I think 10 years from now I'll have the same friendships? Maybe not. I don't know where I'll be 10 years from now, but I know I'm going to be a lot further than I am right now because I'm taking the baby steps. And that's what it takes. It takes baby steps. You know, if you go back, Mel Robbins is a household name now. I started listening to her years ago when she had her first podcast. Go back and listen to her first podcast. It is nothing like who she is now because she started from the beginning. Now look at her. She is empowering and changing lives of so many people with her wisdom and she's just amazing. And if you don't know Mel Robbins, you need to know Mel Robbins because she was paramount to my life changing, listening to her and she's just like the rest. She was just like the rest of us. She was, came from the bottom, nobody, to who she is now. So any one of us has that potential to be a Mel Robbins. And that's my goal. That's my goal. My goal is to be a household name. My goal is to be, a topic of conversation when you're having a girls' night. Did you listen to Rachel's last podcast? That's my goal. That's my goal. And I know I'm going to reach it. There's not one question to me that says I'm not. Am I going to be for everybody? Absolutely not. Am I going to also be the topic of conversation that people say, can you believe Rachel thinks she's doing what she can do? I'm sure I will be, but that's okay. That's not my business. What people think of me isn't my business. I know what I think of me, and I know how far I've come. And I know that I've stopped letting fear get in my way. And it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to put yourself out there. But I'm going to give you a challenge. Take one step towards your dream, whatever it is. Don't wait. Start now. Imagine living your best life. Imagine, who's with you. Think about where you want to be. If you close your eyes and you think about your dream day, and I've done this many times, and think when you wake up in the morning, where are you? Or, what are you doing when you first wake up? And then the next step of your day. And if you visualize that regularly, eventually that will become your life. That will become your life. So I think take those baby steps. There's another really cool exercise I did, which was wild. And I was taught, I heard it somewhere on Instagram, I believe, on a reel. So I can't give credit to whoever came up with it, but it's not my credit. If you go onto ChatGPT and you put in the search bar, give me a outline of what my day would look like if you were living your dream life, which is whatever it is. You tell ChatGPT, whatever that is. So I said, give me an outline of what my day would look like as a successful podcast host that is listened to in millions of homes, living on the water. And then when you hit that button to share it, to see what they say, just keep doing if you live in the life that you expect to live in, then it will come to you. So you have to pretend that you are that person. Pretend that you are the person that you're reading about, and then you will become that person. And I know I will. There's no question. I know I will. And I'm going to believe that until the day I close my eyes for the last time. So I hope this wasn't a little too long-winded. I hope you got something out of it. We have some really amazing women coming on the next 2 episodes so far, who have some stories that are really heartfelt, and really difficult maybe to hear. And so there might be some triggering for some people. So I will, before the episode, give you a little warning if you do have those triggers. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed this. I just wanted to start the year with, don't stop dreaming your dreams. Start today with one little step, and you have no idea what will happen. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.